Hey everyone. I've been thinking about mastery, especially, well, this time of year with so much emphasis on the form, on music, on products, on creations, and also with everything that's going on in the world at the moment with the pandemic of that medical expertise and organizational expertise, transport, logistics, everything. And And I've been thinking how easily this conversation becomes an excuse for not mastering form because it says, well, there is no objective reality, it's all a dream. So, therefore, no point learning that, no point getting that exam, no point getting that qualification, no point furthering our knowledge about something that actually isn't true. And and I've been thinking how what an ego exercise that is, really. And and so what we start to see is that there's the ego exercise of withdrawal from form because of the effort that looks like it's involved in it, because of the competition, because of the risk of failure, because of the tedium of doing stuff that we don't necessarily want to. And there's the ego exercise of going into form to prove ourselves, to be worthy, to be valuable, to be better than others, to be someone, and we have these two things going on. And and very easily this conversation becomes a way of exiting the world when the truth of it is that it is only ever an immersion in the world. It's an immersion in form because it's a opportunity to see what form really is. And when we start having these conversations about reality, about the self, about what's true, that is an invitation to meet with anything that arises at the deepest, most profound level. It's not an invitation to hide away from anything that is scary or hide away from anything that's too challenging or too boring. It's it's only ever an invitation to see what's true. And that is amazing because that is it's an undoer of everything that's not true. So all the reasons, oh cat, all the reasons that would send us into these different industries, different worlds, different creations to secure ourselves start to fall away because there's nothing true in that. There's no matter how many qualifications we've got, how much money we've earned, how many followers we have, how many best-selling books we have, none of that is a guarantee of doing what the self is trying to do, which is always be secure, always be happy, always be loved, always be approved of. That's never going to happen. Always having the experience that we want, having the world as we want it to be, never going to happen. And so the deeper in we go, the more all of that falls away. All of those reasons, those ego reasons for doing something become less and less valid, which is often why on courses there's a sort of no man's land of dip, like a huge dip in motivation, which is totally understandable when we consider that maybe the driving motivation for everything has been this desperation to be something, to feel worthy, to feel approved of, to fit in. And then as that goes, it's not there anymore, is it? There's not that drive. And so we're moving into what's actually true. And that creates this space as stuff falls away that isn't true. Then there's just the form, there's just the mechanics, the way of it, the physics of it all. And it becomes really fascinating because we're moving deeper and deeper and deeper into the truth of any form, into the rules of it. What always stays the same, what's constant, what doesn't change. And so we're going deeper into this dream of ours. Reality is often compared to a dream, but the dream doesn't go away, does it? Just because we're saying it's a dream doesn't go anywhere. It's still there. And so we're in the dream. We are in the dream, exploring what the dream is. And what that does is it frees up the world of form. Now that it no longer has the weight of the self on it, doesn't have to prove ourselves. Now that it's no longer about separation, the mastery of anything can be entirely in order to keep me separate from them. Without that, without the withdrawal, because we're not prepared to accept boredom or tedium or challenge or repetition or failure. Without that, there's just what's arising, an inquiry into what's arising, and learning, constant learning, but learning from the place of sanity. We're not learning anymore the sort of blind acquisition of concepts. Isn't that interesting? We were, as we were growing up, we were totally, what's this me? What are they? What's success? What's failure? Now we're not. Now we're learning what's true. We're learning about reality. And that's mastery now. That becomes mastery. And that's where our whole being aligns with the form. And there'll be a way of being in the form, just as there are for plants and animals, that is completely aligned and congruent and joyful. It's, in a way, it's the full expression of ourselves through the form. But that self is not the self of thought. It's the inner essence of being, powered by the life that we are, that finds the form, finds the frontier of knowledge that is most exciting. It could be anything, but it's what speaks to our innermost what's the word? It's like it speaks to that magnet inside us, really. What are we pulled towards? And that's where mastery happens, because there's effort, but it's effortless effort. There's no confusion dragging it down. There's no resistance that is mangled up in it. It's just pure quest for what's true in that form. What can be done with that form? What's the inner truth of that form? And there's no barriers. There's no weight. There's no confusion. There's just curiosity. And it could be in any industry, any field. But that's that place of excitement. That's that place of the falling away. It's the place of flow. It's the place of immense, effortless effort, and all of it, the output, the creation, is all in the service of wholeness. It speaks to the wholeness that's in all of us. It's not effort to create separation. And all of us, there's a mastery in all of us to be released as confusion wanes. This curiosity and spark and aliveness and excitement just becomes unignorable, because that's what life is, isn't it? That's what we are. It's so laden down, like the Princess and the Pea, by all these mattresses of weight and concept and fears and shames and resistances. As they start disappearing, which they have to in this conversation, then that vitality and essence of us is revealed, comes alive. Oh, yeah, so that's mastery. Has to be that way. Mastery without that is dangerous, isn't it? If we think of someone like Hitler, master of mobilization and manipulation and persuasion and creating fear, creating division, a master of that. But imagine that capacity in the service of wholeness instead of separation. We have to have this conversation. It's the only conversation, and then from that, everything else emerges. Yeah. So much love to you. Thank you. Bye.